Army veteran Dan Hunter, a communications specialist in the Office of Information and Technology, and your host of this series, Talking Tech. So, wherever you are, take a seat, prop up your feet, enjoy today's discussion, and send out a tweet. Like, share, and comment throughout the show. We have some information we want you to know. This series gives VA technology experts an opportunity to share what they're doing to serve our nation's veterans. They'll discuss best practices, strategies, and techniques designed to enhance the veteran experience. VA uses ones and zeros to help our nation's heroes. Today, we have a special guest with us who is helping our nation's heroes. We have Crystal Drakeford talking to us from the VA Privacy Office. Thank you for joining us. Crystal, can you explain a little bit about what you do and how you started your journey at an HBCU?
Good afternoon and good morning to those on the West Coast there. Yes, my name is Crystal Drakeford. I've been with the Department of Veteran Affairs for 8 years now. I've been supporting our VA privacy efforts for 4 years now, amplifying that at VA Privacy Matters. And I'm going to go in timeline here as far as my journey from an HBCU to where I am now. I attended Bowie State University, and I always wanted to attend a historically Black college university, which made it easier for me to make my decision to land at Bowie State. It was local, it offered smaller classrooms, which was a better fit for my learning preferences. And it made it easier for me to decide. And Bowie also offered my course of interest, which was nursing at the time. However, I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Business Management, and that's quite ironic because I now support the business communication side of the nation's largest integrated healthcare system. Wow. Yeah. And I felt that business at that time, and even now until this point, was a better fit for me. I feel as though business can translate across many roles and industries. And I work for a tech company, nonprofit, federal, healthcare administration, you name it. The business has a multitude of different available career opportunities. Anyway, Bowie had offered job fairs. They provided internships for graduates, which actually landed me a paid internship with the Internal Revenue Service. I was really excited for my first paid internship in college, actually taking in the full federal experience and kind of getting a glimpse of just the federal sector as a whole and what it offered. And working at the Internal Revenue Service was a big eye-opener for me. I said, this is something I definitely want to consider doing long-term as far as within a federal career. And I wish I can say that, some of my journey, was really easy getting into the federal government, but there were ups and downs. Everyone's journey is different. It's very unique in what you make it to be. But fast forwarding up to 2014, where I was working on my master's at the time in project management, I worked for a contract company that was hired by VA, the Office of Information and Technology to be exact. And I was a program support assistant where I indirectly supported the chief information officer by preparing VA's IT's congressional budget proposals, responding to congressional inquiries, conducting correspondence management. And I worked hard. I definitely worked hard during that time and continue to do so. But during my time as a contractor, I applied to quite a few positions at the VA. I knew VA was ultimately the organization in which I wanted to start my official federal employee position. And as I say, multiple positions, I did. I said, this is the place where I want to be. So I'm going to go for it all. And I finally was hired as a program analyst. And that, again, was another exciting milestone for me, my first official position, federal government position. And as I said, I wanted to remain at VA. At VA, I'm able to utilize my knowledge, my skill sets, and it was also a personal benefit for me because my dad was a Navy veteran. He would tell his friends that I'm the president at VA. Very, very proud moment. Very proud moment of me being the president of VA, but I stuck with it. I stuck with it. I stuck with it and explained to him and his friends, yes, what VA does is crucial. The mission alone is crucial. And it can definitely entice anyone to want to, become a member of this workforce. And the opportunity to work here and to make a difference, in the life of veterans. My dad, seeing the impact of what, the information that I can work on and amplify and push out as far as our privacy and security protections, and to educate him on how to better protect himself was always an added bonus for me.
Wow. So you talked about that journey, and that is a very powerful journey that you took from your school, your HBCU, through your internship, and then your professional opportunities that you had as a contractor and now as a full-time employee with the Department of Veterans Affairs. Through that path, can you talk about any help, assistance, guidance that you've had with any mentors or any special opportunities that you had along the way that helped to get you where you are?
Sure. As I stated, Bowie State offered job fairs and internships, also mentorship programs as well, depending on which scope or area focused in which you were studying. And I also met professional mentorships outside of Bowie as well through my sorority. Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated has a great mentorship program for young sorors reaching new heights within their career, or either trying to find out what their career path is. And mentorship is very, very important. I still have a mentor to this day, and I will continue to do so. There's always an opportunity to learn, to develop, to find out what new skill sets and paths are there for you to obtain.
Wow. Well, with your talking about that path, can you talk about? I didn't hear the science. I didn't hear the math. I didn't hear the pocket protector that you were bringing to work and the calculator that you had in your pocket. But what skills do you bring that makes you an asset here with the Department of Veterans Affairs?
It's funny you say that, because I heard there ones and zeros at the beginning, in which that is not in my background whatsoever. I always recall working with even some of the IT professionals and students, at Bowie State and even in grad school, and they will always be in the basement, dark, working computers everywhere, servers everywhere. No, that's not me. Wasn't quite a fan of that. But I was able to still land a position within IT to, work on the communications and quality assurance of our business practices. My skills include budgeting and finance, quality assurance, as I just stated, interpersonal skills, which are very important within my position, networking, leadership skills, all these skills necessary to run an efficient program that's vital to our VA mission. I also, and just to touch on, I also handled a lot of congressional outreach, within my internship with working at the IRS, and as well as within my contract role, trying to find out what is it that Congress wants to know, what are we doing with taxpayer dollars? What's the value? What's the outcome? And I was the one to, and still is the one to, really amplify and bring transparency to that. And I provide a continuous awareness and outreach campaign to our veterans and to our employees that privacy and data matters.
That's a large scope of responsibilities. Now, what I want to do, because you're very humble in talking about yourself. I'll let you know that. But with your large scope of responsibilities, can you talk about that? What you're doing to serve our nation's veterans, and to protect that vital information that is very, very critical, not only to the veteran, but also for our employees. Can you talk about how you apply your skills, and I call it common sense, to the mission here with the department?
Sure. I currently serve as a government information specialist. I'm not too sure if I mentioned that earlier. But in this role, I direct and develop VA's enterprise privacy and awareness outreach program. I develop and implement our strategic stakeholder engagement plans to align with VA's privacy program plans and VA strategies and plans. So, in short, I provide more of a different means of awareness and communication artifacts for our VA employees, veterans, stakeholders, including congressional stakeholders, on the importance of privacy. I can take very high technical documents and pull very important information from those documents that resonate with our audience and present it in a way that's less technical, present in a way that resonates with them, that they're easy to understand, they can take it, they can interpret it, they can share it. I provide a different perspective to enhance our mission, and I work with very key role players to help brainstorm content ideas. I try to help with different strategies to support various brands and initiatives of VA to further amplify and broadcast the importance of what we do. And I bring transparency, which is very, very important to how VA is utilizing veteran data and informing veterans of their privacy rights.
Wow.
Hopefully that kind of breaks it down a little bit there for you.
Wow. With that, and since I have you here, since we're talking, and you talked about what you're doing for the enterprise and what you're doing for veterans, can you spend a little time to help us learn how to protect ourselves? Employees and veterans, we have mobile devices, we bank, we shop online. What are some tips and techniques that can help us protect ourselves? It can also help our friends, our relatives, and our associates. Can you provide some insight there?
Sure. At the end of the day, we all have to be mindful of who we come in contact with, whether in person or online. And unfortunately, the most targeted group of military consumers are our military retirees, veterans. And this is due to an elevated risk of malicious actors that are trying to steal their health and their pension benefits and government benefits that are rightfully owed to veterans. And scammers, they know that this is a guarantee. They say, well, it's a guarantee that veterans are going to receive this benefit from the government because it's owed to them. And think about it, even right now, and it's the holiday season. And identity theft is really more prevalent around the holiday season due to an increase in online activity, online shopping. It's easier, it's convenient. You know, who wants to be in traffic, you're standing in long lines, but there's also a risk involved with doing that. You know, hackers can access private websites to try to obtain credit card information and personal information to later use or either sell, unfortunately. So it's important to keep your software updated, use antivirus programs and turn on your firewalls, disable your location services and data sharing with third parties. I always tell my family, friends, please utilize those highest privacy and security settings that you can. And to also consider using credit monitoring service to scan for suspicious activity. And this may be very basic, but trust me, it adds a lot of value. Use strong passwords. Change your passwords often. Don't be simple. No simple passwords. Consider using a password manager. I personally use Google Manager to help me generate and store my secure passwords. Look into different password managers that more appropriate and fits your style. Another thing that want to focus on PACT Act. That's a very historical moment for VA, historical moment for veterans, but also can cause a huge opportunity for scammers to take advantage and wanting to steal veterans information and benefits. So, and also in speaking of that, this is my lead in here for this VA Privacy Service. We're actually hosting an event open to VA employees and as well as the veteran audience on protecting the promise to address comprehensive tactic Toxics, PACT Act, benefits from identity theft scammers. This event is on February 1 of 2023. So please look out for more information to come on that. But, PACT Act, as I said, is a very historical moment. So you want to make sure that you're mindful of who's contacting you, be mindful of, you providing your personal information. Don't give out your social security number, medical records to anyone, who's offering claims assistance. It has to be directly through VA. So those are some common practices, some alerts, some things to be aware about. I know that we're all excited to receive our benefits and pension checks and affairs that are owed to them, but you also have to be privacy mindful and security mindful of your information to protect it.
Wow. And something you said is, I think, very important. And you said, don't be simple.
Yeah.
We do have to use a level of complexity to help protect ourselves. The password. I know everybody out there gets on password overload. You have tons of passwords. You don't know what's connected to what. So you mentioned the password manager, which can be very beneficial and helpful. So you can remember probably just one password instead of 100. So I think that's very beneficial.
Yes. Please do not have your password sheet posted on a wall or your refrigerator. Just, definitely consider looking into a password manager to help keep that secure. Multi-factor identification. There's a lot of tools that, you should definitely utilize that are available to you. I know that it may take an extra minute or two or second to wait for a text message to come with the PIN, but trust and believe those are in place to keep your information safe and secure.
Wow. What you said makes a lot of sense when you actually play it out. And it's ultimately, even though it takes a little bit of extra time, those are steps to support you and to protect you, and protect your family, protect your bank accounts, and protect your tax situation or whatever it may be. So it's very, very important. I'm going to shift gears slightly. You talked about working at VA and why you are here and why this is a good place for you. Can you talk a little bit about that and your experience? I know you got here, you have a very important role, but can you talk about the reward and what you get from your experience here at VA? And
Sure.
In particular, IT.
Sure. I touched on a little bit as far as just the VA's mission alone is very crucial. It's, as I said, the personal benefit to me is working to really amplify what we do and to, provide support for our nation's heroes. My dad. VA operates the largest, most technologically advanced integrated healthcare system in the United States. And that also opens more opportunities, more career opportunities, more areas for me to be able to move and may shift focuses or stay and just grow and just further develop on my skill set. Another reason why VA is a great place to work is because of the diversity at VA. I enjoy learning about my peers, their background, and working together to understand different interests. You bring a lot to the table, a lot of uniqueness to the table when it comes to thinking of creative programs, initiatives, and efforts in support of our mission. VA also supports our continuous learning efforts. I'm a huge fan of continuous training, continuous learning. There's always, something new, something arising, and you want to make sure you're always on your toes. You want to make sure that you're staying on top within your field, within your interests, and having a leadership to support my professional goals and my development and just advocate for the workforce is an added plus. And working at VA does also advocate for a great work-life balance. It's important. I'm human. Yes, I support the mission, and I put a lot of work and time and hours in, but then I also have a life. I have a life outside of VA, and I want to make sure that I work with an organization that understands my life, my personnel life, and perspectives of life. And it has been such a great match with VA so far.
Wow. And while you mentioned that, the Office of Information Technology is hiring IT professionals, and the email for that is oitcareers@va.gov. Again, that's oitcareers@va.gov. You and Crystal, you talked about some of the things you're working. You talked about why it's important for you to work here. How do you see your role in privacy, cyber, interpersonal skills, and how do you see your role and function evolving in the future?
Sure, I can't predict the future, but I do see a lot of advances within information technology, within robotics, with automation, machine learning, AI, and just bringing efficiency to the healthcare field and education and so on. And I also see advancements within IT careers within that. Outside of IT specialists and developers and coders, it's really more so having the organization to build on a skill set and careers with those soft skills, those interpersonal skills, those human skills to help train and provide continuous learning to employees on those new and upcoming evolving technologies, to communicate, in my case, my position, to communicate the importance of the technologies, to find a way to communicate to its stakeholders, to its customers, on what we're doing, how we're doing it. Why do we need your information? For what reason? What are we using? What are we using your information for? What are we sharing? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Who are we sharing your information with? It's very important to bring communication and transparency about that. And it's great to have those technical skills. Don't get me wrong, it's great to have IT specialists, developers, and so on, but having the right professionals in place with those soft skills are essential as well. And it's often adds success to the work. It's sometimes it may be harder to navigate certain things without having those specialists with those soft skills. And when I say by soft skills, as in organizational, being very analytical, and having a way to interpret certain information and bringing visions alive. Being analytical can give you a major edge in IT. Where you're expected to find logical solutions and to problems frequently. Some other soft skills include creativity. That's totally a number one for me. Creativity may not be an actual IT requirement for all jobs, but it's a useful talent. Yeah, it's a very useful talent. And having technology creativity to fulfill a business can help move organizations forward. It can help move VA forward. So the ones and zeros are important, but we must also include some of those other key components and skill sets.
Right. The way IT is done with the engineering, with the policy, with the governance, it's all important, but it doesn't work unless we can understand what the business is doing, and we can work with the business to help them achieve their goals. So it's very, very important that we do work together as one team, one organization, one VA. And going back to when I had the uniform on, one team, one fight. Everybody's in this together, and it takes a community. It really does take a community to achieve success, to achieve our mission. And one thing that I think is important looking into the future is the mobile devices and mobile device security. Everybody has one or two or three. They have a phone, they have an iPad, and now you have televisions that are connected via Wi-Fi, and who knows how that's really working behind the scenes. So it's very important to protect that mobile device. And what you're doing, Crystal, you and your team is very, very important to achieving the VA mission, to us meeting the mission and protecting that critical information. So yeah, thank you so much for what you're doing. Is there anything that I missed, that I forgot to ask, talking through your journey, talking about what you're doing, and talking about your little peek over the mountain into the future? Is there anything that I missed?
No, I just want to say that I know we talked about a lot of things, especially with relating to career wise and kind of next steps and starting out within IT. For those who are considering a field within IT, go for it. Don't hold back. Take on new career opportunities. Mentorships, professional networking events. Networking events have been a top fave for me. It's a great opportunity to meet new people, to find out what's evolving, what's going on, what are new industry partners, who is who. And able to see if you can take your professional career to the next step. I didn't see myself being considered an IT professional years ago. I remember I was a nursing major, but here I am today. With the help of networking, with the help of not shying away from new opportunities. Everyone's journey is unique. So embrace where your experience takes you.
Well, something that, now that you mentioned what your past was, and talking about your career, what would be your recommendation, your additional recommendation for someone who is seeking an opportunity with the federal government, with VA, and or with the department? And I'll lead in by saying, if anybody has any questions, you can reach out and contact the email oitcareers@va.gov. That's oitcareers@va.gov. And Crystal, I'm going to throw it to you for your advice and counsel, to see if you had any advice or recommendations for pursuing a career. You did mention your experience with an internship, but do you have any other advice and counsel that you could share with the audience?
Sure. Continue networking. Also research other success stories, for similar careers, to help give you an idea of just different methods and approaches to your career objectives. As I said, everyone's journey is different. I was lucky to be able to obtain an internship with the Internal Revenue Service. I thought that my official full-time federal government career was started at IRS, but it started here at VA. It took a turn, and I was glad that it did. But as I said, make sure you do your research. See what is an approach for you that fits your learning style, that fits your career style. That's why it's always important to maintain a professional relationship. Keep those relationships open. Keep in contact with former bosses or those that you have met along the way, who are in those high leadership positions, to see what steps did they take to obtain to be able to be within those roles, and apply. If there are positions out there that are open to you and you're considering, do it. See what happens. Review those job requirements. Make sure that you try to find experience that meets those requirements. If not, then take on new opportunities to do so. Take on additional training. There is a lot of opportunities, even LinkedIn provides a lot of training opportunities, a variety of different topics, and find what fits you, what's within your scope, and what you want to take advantage of.
Well, thank you, Crystal. Thank you for sharing your experience, your journey, your very successful journey. And thank you for sharing what you're doing for the department. And also thank you for sharing your tips for how to protect us, how we can protect ourselves, and what you're doing and providing for our nation's heroes. We greatly appreciate that. It's very inspiring for anyone who's interested in pursuing a federal IT career, particularly here at VA and what we're doing here with our mission. Keep us informed about any updates and what you are doing with your career and what your special programs. And if you would go back and talk about that and restate that date, that special date that you have for program in February.
Thank you. Any opportunity to discuss our upcoming events, especially those to the VA audience, I will definitely take advantage of. But yes, coming up February 1 next year, VA Privacy Service is hosting our first Privacy in Action Speaker Series event in recognition of Identity Theft Awareness Week. The title of this event is Protecting the Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxics Act, the PACT Act, Benefits from Identity Theft Scammers. So this is a great event. We're having speakers from Federal Trade Commission as well as from our Veteran Benefits Administration that will cover the PACT Act, provide an overview, and also discuss some of those identity theft best practices for veterans and as well as just the general public to keep your information secure, things to watch out for. And also they will provide resources, VA resources for veterans to be able to contact and work with when submitting their PACT Act benefit claim.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to speak with us, to share your story, share that critical information, and helping us protect critical information, our own private information. So as you have new technologies, new tools, new programs, don't hesitate to let us know and we can help you get the word out on that. With that said, VA is using ones and zeros to help our nation's heroes. Thank you for joining us and have a great VA Day.